Today's podcast is brought to you by Audible.com. Get a free audiobook download at audiblepodcast.com/SorgatronMedia. Over 75,000 titles to choose from for your iPod, iPhone, or MP3 player.
And now, a word from Mr. Money in the Bank, The Miz.
You are missing one of the greatest times of all time at San Diego Comic-Con. I'm standing here with a guy, probably Mike, who has a shirt that says, "This is what awesome looks like." I beg to differ. I like to look in the mirror and think that is what awesome looks like. However, some people are different. Maybe we needed your opinion. Obviously, you're not here, so, let Mike know and he'll let me know. Game over. Bye.
Wrestling Mayhem Show.com.
It's the best day of the week. Today is the day that you have chosen to listen to the Wrestling Mayhem Show. This is DJLunchbox, putting it the fuck down for you. Let's fucking do this. Monday night, you know it must be raw. Leaders being a whore and not wearing a bra. Seen his damn belt still spinning around his waist. I can ship at a rhymes on what comes out of his face. Tuesday night and it's EC Dub. Michael Q Knoxville join the club. If you sick of the shit, scream out boo boo. This ain't EC Dub and we can tell that too. Wednesday night, ROH on DVD. The best wrestling on the planet to the nth degree. Joe Damon's delirious, Daniel City, Kim McCarthy, Homicide, the Rottweilers, and Kenta Kobashi. Thursday night, TNA on Spike. Bruce is spoken, so that means
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Wrestling Mayhem Show 244. We got a fantastic show lined up for you. We are scheduled to talk here briefly with Jerry Sags, the Nasty Boy. We just got one Nasty Boy. We couldn't afford the second one. We'll explain it. Don't worry about it. But that's coming up here soon, shortly.
We hit Brian Knobs in the head with a megaphone.
With the megaphone. I was thinking the motorcycle.
That we stole from Jimmy Hart.
That we stole from Jimmy Hart.
Stole from Jimmy
It
Hart.
wasn't hard to do. But with me is my esteemed panel, the usual suspects, of course, the Wrestle Fan.
Woo! It has been a nastified Mayhem show, and I am loving it this week.
You mean the show that's going to happen, not the one in the past, because this is the beginning of the show, Wrestle Fan.
No, the thing is, I'm like Stephen Colbert. I didn't set my clocks back, so now I'm talking to you 1 hour in the future.
Oh, you have an iPhone 4.
DJ Lunchbox.
And Conan O'Brien debuted at midnight.
DJ Lunchbox, what part of time are you from?
I am from a distant future, a galaxy far, far away. I am DJ Lunchbox, Stormtrooper Extraordinaire. I'm happy to be here with you, Sorgatron, Boy Detective, Wrestle Fan, former serial killer, now downgraded to person of interest. And
Wait,
of
hold
course, Mad Mike, the secret king of Prussia.
Wait, hold on. Sorg's Boy Detective and I'm serial killer?
Former serial killer, now you've been downgraded to person of interest.
Ah. Well, that's always good.
I'm totally down with being the secret king of Prussia.
Secret king of Prussia. That's exactly right.
That's entirely correct. It's good to be the king.
Anyways, and Mad Mike's here, too. The king of Prussia.
No, Mad Mike's not here.
Secret king of Prussia is here.
Dashing secret king of Prussia, Mad Mike is here.
Dashing, nastified, king of nastiness.
And by the way, kids, the word of the week is Feauxgina. Tell your friends.
Thanks to the awesome cast chat room where I don't know what happened to that show and what happened to the chat room because we are on way different wavelengths. That's what happens when the Mayhem crew invades the Tech Podcast chat room. Anyways, This is your
wait. You know what? Crazy. You know what just occurred to me? You know who would have a Feauxgina? A Phasian.
Phasians would have a vagina.
A Phasian would have a Feauxgina.
Maybe.
Anyways,
we learn more every week.
This is your Wrestling Mayhem Show, of course. You can check out more about us over at WrestlingMayhemShow.com for all your news and everything going on with the show. Twitter at Mayhem Show. Of course, drop us an email. We'll be reading a few of them here after the interview at Good Times.
Good Times.
That WrestlingMayhemShow.com, and you can call us, as Big Freaky loves to do, at 412-206-WMS0. And of course, as usual, you could check out, we got about 20 minutes of gold, I think is going to make it out there. But you can check it out at...
The gold this week is platinum.
No. Well, okay. For $1.99, you too can have this on your iPhone and have Mayhem wherever you go, ladies and gentlemen. Somebody's like breathing the mic and it's not working. Anyways, let's toss it right now to our interview. DJ Lunchbox, take it away.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Wrestling Mayhem Show. I'm here at DJ Lunchbox alongside Mad Mike, WrestleFan, and Sorg, and it is our very, very esteemed pleasure to welcome one half of the legendary Nasty Boys to the Wrestling Mayhem Show. Jerry Skaggs on the line with us. How you doing, sir?
All right, man. I got to explain. Our webmaster gets the requests for the radio interviews, and Hook tells us that you guys wanted to do interviews and stuff. I don't know what happened on Knobs' end. I know he has camps and stuff like that going, but I don't know if he contacted him or what. I didn't ask him when he contacted me, so I apologize for that. So you got one half of us
all right.
released, right?
We're just happy to have you.
Thanks, man.
Now, let's start with what have you guys been up to lately?
Lately, we just do a lot of the cons here and there, from tattoo conventions and wrestling cons to spot shows and that type of stuff. And I think this month we have one of those Hogan and Friends coming up that we got to go to. And Nav stays pretty busy with his wrestling camp and that type of junk like that, and that kind of stuff,
Very cool. Now, you guys recently did a stint in TNA, and I wanted to ask you how that was, and how did it compare to the your experiences in both WWE and WCW?
It was good. I wish it would have been more of what it was, but it was. We had fun there. I had a fun time, and it compared to, as you mean. How do you want me to compare it, as far as a company or? The general atmosphere, your guys' experience, things like that. Oh, it was good. For me, it was just good seeing all the guys again and stuff, and being on TV and around the business and stuff like that. And you can't compare it to the days. A lot of the guys were with us at WCW, and there was guys that were with us, and we had monumental strides in the wrestling business in WWE too. It can't compare to that at all. No way in hell. But it's just fun doing it. For what it's worth.
Now TNA is the home of what a lot of people consider, some of the really great modern tag teams like the Motor City Machine Guns and the Young Bucks and people like that. What do you think of the state of tag team wrestling today?
In a whole, I think it's weak, because there just aren't that many tag teams. I'm glad to see those Motor City guys, that they wrestle as a team. I really wanted to, work with those guys, so I wanted to work with the Beer Money guys. I like their gimmick and stuff like that. I like their work. They sort of reminded me of Arn Anderson and them back in their day. I tried for probably a year. I wanted to set off this deal with the Dudleys because I thought it would draw not only ratings but money, and draw house shows also with street fight type situations and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So I pushed for that even before I was working on that and talking like the Cactus about it, and sort of doing stuff with him and talking a little bit, trying to push that angle to work because I thought there was money there, you know, for one last type crazy brawl for us. And there's a generation gap there, and it's never been seen. I thought it would be a really good draw and people would dig it, you know. And
I agree.
I was pushing a thing like to, you know, because back in the day we did some of the first of the street fights ever with Cactus and them guys, and I wanted to get him involved in a little bit, sort of in some type of way, and sort of reiterate all that stuff, you know. I thought it, you know, and we sort of kicked it off, and that was that, you know. You know, so that's as far as it went.
Right.
You know, what you
that
saw
would have been
you know,
that would have been a great
which
program.
is out of my hands. It has nothing to do with me. You know.
Yeah.
So
now
I sort of think of the people got gypped a little bit on that
wrestling,
one, you know. So, what did you guys think of it? You like that?
I think that would be great. I would love to see a program like that. I mean, you and the Dudleys are a very similar kind of feel to a tag team, that kind of brawling brothers. You know what I mean?
I can't hear you.
I think that would have been a great match to see.
Sorry, I think there might be something wrong with this connection. But you were saying, you know, you guys are kind of a similar kind of the brawling. What do you say? Kind of the brawling brothers, kind of tag teams. I know. Well, you guys were just starting to mix it up before you guys made your exit from TNA, right?
You mean us and the Dudleys?
Yeah. And I remember it was interesting because, again, like you said, that kind of generational gap. You know, one of those you didn't think.
Well, but between us and them, there's a generation gap. You know, and they sort of followed in our footsteps, and I like them as a team, and always wanted to work with them, and I that's what I was trying to achieve there. You know. And we only got as far as we did, and like I said, that was out of our hands. We didn't come in on no deal or anything like that. We just came in to, you know, sort of what it was is what it was, and we took it as far as they wanted to go, I guess, other directions. So you can't, you know, force stuff. You know, and like I said, it's out of my hands. It wasn't had nothing to do with me and Knobs. What we wanted, it's what other forces, I guess, from what I can tell, you know.
While we're on that topic, I mean, of course, you guys left. There's speculation what may have happened. Never any word. Would you like to shed any light on what did happen on your exit of TNA, if you would like to, of course?
What's on our exit?
Yeah.
Well, there really was no, you know, exit. You know, of like saying, you know, see you later or we're leaving or nothing like that. It started with you know, Hulkster asked us to make an appearance on the January 4th show. You know, we came off the Australia tour with them, and I said that'd be great. I'd love to be on that. And you know, we did a little thing there, and I sort of, you know, told them, me and Knobs told the idea of what we thought we could do business-wise with the Dudleys and stuff. So I think they just gave it a shot, and I mean, it truly did. It for what we did do, I think it helped ratings-wise and got a good reaction. You know what I mean? But it isn't up to us to say, you know, go ahead and run with that for 2 years or something like that, you know. So we just went we were just week to week. When they call us, we come to TV and do what they, you know, wanted us to do, and then we just didn't get called no more, you know. So that was as far as that goes now. If someone calls and says come back or we want you to do this, I mean, I'd have no problem with it, but that's all it was. There's nothing more to it than that, you know.
Actually got a question from the chat room. We touched on this a little bit. What was your favorite? What was the most fun between the big groups you were in? Of course, WWE, WCW, TNA.
Wait, I didn't hear that part.
What was the most fun? What was your favorite out of the three big groups you were a part of? WWE, WCW, and TNA.
You mean the most fun times we had?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I think my whole career was fun. You know, we started in, of course, the AWA, and it was, you know, me and Knobs and Kurt Hennig and Shawn Michaels and Mario Jannetty and Scott Hall, and from Buddy Rose to Jimmy Snuka and Adrian Adonis and on, you know, and that part of learning was fun and being part of that, and then going from there to Tennessee and seeing what that was all about, and then from Tennessee to Florida and to Charlotte, and Charlotte down to the WCW for the first time, and then, you know, hitting WWF and being with all the whole ride was tremendous. You know what I mean? I can't pick one part. I mean, there are shining moments in there, and I know what I would call some of our breakthrough matches and stuff like that. But the whole ride was just incredible, and we had, you know, our reputation says that for itself. But we had fun wherever we were, a lot of it, maybe sometimes too much. You know, we're not called the nice boys. You know,
I think we'd be remiss in our duties if we didn't ask you for any road stories.
For what?
For any road stories.
For road stories.
You mean crazy stuff that happened when we were on the road?
Yeah.
Well, me and Nob usually would, you know, go to and eat health food and then go to the motel room, get a good night's sleep. And so I don't have too many of those type of stories. I was kidding, of course, but I don't even know where to start. That's what's cool about this, when we go do these Hulk Hogan and Friends things, because it's just like you guys are sitting there now like that, and we're sitting on that stage, a bunch of us guys, and then they ask, and sometimes now it's almost like sometimes some of the stories you get almost not like tired of telling them, because even though it's the first time those people heard you tell it, but it's like over and over and the same, you know, stuff again. But there's so many stories of, and with so many people that all the wrestling fans know. Looking back, I cannot say anything negative about our careers, because we've touched so many different avenues, whether it's from old legends being around of pro wrestling to guys that made it to the top of the realm in the business, and in every sport, from actors, and that we've, you know, rubbed elbows with everybody and have stories with everybody. You know, it's just tough to start somewhere, you know. It's cool. You know. But if you got something in mind, I'll expand on it. If you hear, you know.
Well, I remember reading in Shawn Michaels' autobiography that his and Mario Jannetty's first night in WWF, they had a pretty interesting night out with you guys. And I was just wondering if you could maybe get your side of the story from Shawn's book about it.
Well, their first night in WWF?
Yes.
Or ours?
Oh, your first night. Sorry, I flipped that when I was talking about.
Oh, because they were there before us.
Yeah.
I think we were either in Florida or Tennessee when them guys went the first time, if I remember right, for history. But I don't know. I don't know even what. I'd have to bring that back to my memory. But talking about that, I could tell you something funny we did when we were all in Tennessee that I think Shawn mentioned in his book too, and that's the invasion of Graceland. I don't know if you've heard that story. Have you heard that?
I haven't heard that one.
Don't think I remember that one.
No.
Oh God, that's what I think when we were in Tennessee, we had a small apartment. This is for Mid-South Wrestling with Jerry Lawler and Jeff Jarrett and the whole gang, you know, and Bill Dundee and on. But we Wahoo McDaniel shipped us out of AWA, and we went down to the Mid-South. And, that was a learning experience in itself with the Channel 5 TV every Saturday morning in Memphis. And we lived in Nashville. And here comes, I don't know, I think it was a time when Sean and Marty got fired. One of the times when they were younger, and they were the Rockers. And they were in maybe WWE, it was WWF for a while, and they might have got fired or something. I don't know. They left, and they came with us. They showed up in Tennessee, and they lived with us. So all of us lived together, and in and out of that apartment was, Scott Hall and Kurt Hennig when they came to town, and they all living in this place. But so here we are. I don't know where we were or where we were coming from, but we were pretty loaded. And well, it's me. Knobs is driving. Sean's in the front. Me and Marty in the back. And all of a sudden, I look out the front window and I see musical notes, and I'm like, what the hell? And I was like, we're at Graceland. Come on, everybody out. Let's go. And like, okay, we I guess Knobs thought they were going to just say, oh my God, that's Brian Knobs from Mid-South TV. You can come into Graceland at 2 a.m. And there's like, they said, get the hell out of here before we call the police. So Knobs didn't give up on that. We got back in the car, and he's like, well, there's got to be another way in this place, So sure enough, we drive around, for 20 minutes or whatever, and we're in some subdivision, like boundaries on Elvis's horse ranch in the back. And sure enough, we park in this subdivision, and me, Sean, and Marty and Knobs go creeping up to this big 6-foot wall, stone wall, and we climb up and look over, and there's Graceland, So we go over, we get over the wall, and scammer up, and took our own tour of Graceland, of course, and from the jumping around the Jeep from Blue Hawaii to Knobs sitting on one of Elvis's motorcycles, to me, Knobs, and Sean sitting on, I think Marty had taken off at that time, but me, Knobs, and in between there was a security guard chasing us around. They couldn't find us if you're hiding. And me, Knobs, and Sean sat on Elvis's grave and toasted. We had beers in our hand there, and then all of a sudden we hear, there they are, get them, and me and Sean take off. There's a picket fence. We jump that thing, and we're running. We're climbing this wall, and we hear. I turn around. I go, "Oh my God!" Sean, Knobs just tried to jump the fence, but fell through it and busted the picket fence in half. He smashed the fence. Then they're gaining on him. So Knobs, I'm looking over the wall. Me and Sean are looking over the wall. Knobs runs and gets by this big oak tree and buries himself in a pile of leaves. And we're peeping over the fence. They're looking everywhere for him, but can't hide him. Can't find him because he's hiding under these leaves, buried. I couldn't believe it. I mean, sometimes they came pretty close to him, but he was hiding under there. So when finally the security guys wandered away, we gave him a signal, and he scampered out of there. We yanked him over the wall, and that was our Rockers and Nasty's night at Graceland. So that's a pretty good story. But I don't remember. I think we came in Tampa, if I remember right. I don't remember what we did going out with Sean and Marty that night, if they took us out. Probably, but I'd have to have that one brought back to my memory, because I've forgotten so much stuff too,
Now, were any of you in particular huge fans of Elvis, or just the general awe of the place?
Sean was a huge fan of Elvis. Huge fan of Elvis. Knobs was a fan of Elvis's. I liked Elvis, but I mean, but I know Sean was really, really liked Elvis. Mm-hmm. And earlier on, when we got to AWA, we trained there, and lived in Brad Reagan's basement, who ran Vern Gagne's training camp. Brad Reagan's did in northern Minneapolis. And the ring was next door to our little apartment in Brad's basement. And, when we got there, like Scott Hall and Kurt Hennig and Sean and Marty, they were already established and had, a few years in the business and, were established working wise and on TV, so we were sort of the new guys, but we immediately all connected, and especially us with Sean and Marty, being that they were a team and that's what we wanted to be and stuff like that. And there's a million stories there that what those guys did to us and stuff like that, and going up and down the road with Kurt Hennig in those early days and not only getting ribbed, but learning off those guys too, and Sean ended up living with us down in Brad's basement for a good part of the time, that he lost his apartment or moved in with us for a while. And it was like a frat house down there, of guys of any time you could wake up and, Superfly Jimmy Snook is staying with us, or Kurt, Buddy Rose, Ray Stevens, Nick Bockwinkel would come by. Billy Robinson, and Vern himself, Vern Gagne would come by and wait till Brad had us. We threw up a few times and be crawling on the mat, and he'd get in there and Vern would light you up, sort of give you a Stu Hart treatment, that type of stuff. You know what I mean? That's what I mean by saying how, I feel lucky to have, graced some of the same ground as some of the great people like the Ray Stevens and guys like that we had a chance to be part of and be mentored by in the short time that we were around them. You know what I mean? It was awesome.
Now you mentioned a lot of old classic names there. I recall, and I'm thinking back to the days when I was a WWF kid and saw you guys, and one of the last great times of tag team wrestling I remember. And you guys were so different at the time with the Nasty Boys and the look and the shaved side of the head and everything. With a lot of those classic guys like that, did you get a lot of flack for the new style, or was it really seen as bringing something new, to wrestling?
We really did get a lot of slack because we wouldn't. There's a type of a street fight that I don't like, and that's when they actually when they made these hardcore belts and would send a guy to the ring with this big dumpster filled with things. Yeah. But to do like we did with Cactus and Sullivan and Diamond and Tanaka in Tennessee and stuff like that, and at a time during the match, use a chair or a table or some type of other thing, or railing, whatever it is that you're gonna, do in with your match, and to bring that extra edge to it was a really good thing. I mean, it worked. But when we did that first Chicago street fight, we built it up to a head, and it was Mia Knobs against Cactus and Max Payne. And that, we walked down to the ring with pool cues or a pipe or something, I don't know, and we went from there with shovels and stuff like that. When we got back, it was, Ric Flair being one of them. And he'll tell you this to this day, he had a conniption because back then, when we were, I'm talking the early 90s now, and even the late 80s when we were in Tennessee, I mean, you didn't touch a chair. And it was like you just didn't do that. That was, if that happened, it was like for, some type of pay-per-view or main event or something like that. You didn't touch a chair. You didn't, basically didn't even go out of the ring that much. You know what I mean? But so we got with the way it went down when we finished that match, Rick was, what in the, this is what, at the Chicago, at the Rosemont. And Rick goes in the locker room, what in the hell was that? I can't believe that bullshit, and went on. And I'm like, well, I didn't know what to say. You know, I'm just, you know, we're out there trying to do the best we knew to do, but this is sort of on the cusp of, you know, a few years later, you see tables and chairs flying all over the place, ladders and everything else. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But at this time, you know, it was, you didn't see none of that. The way the story went, we went back to center stage. This was with WCW. We went home and flew back up to Atlanta for TV. We were down in Peachtree on center stage. Rick came in and pulled everybody in the locker room together and goes, I just want to apologize to you, to the Nasty Boys. I guess he took a Learjet home or something like that. And when he got off the plane, I guess it was Reese, the first thing he said, that his boy came running up to him when he got off the plane and goes, that was the greatest match. And goes, well, he was ready to say, well, thank you. And he goes, that Nasty Boys match, I couldn't believe it. Oh my God. And then it sort of something sunk in. And Rick said, holy, you know, maybe this is what, you know, this might be something with the future here, you know. But as far as, you know, breaking new ground, we definitely did that, you know, but not in a sloppy, ECW, like bring everything but the kitchen sink to the ring way. You know what I mean? I don't like that style either. You know what I mean? If during your match you go out and someone ends up getting put through a table or, you know, through and through, but to come down to the ring with a dumpster full of broom handles and sledgehammers and whips and, you know, that ain't me at all, you know, or wasn't our style, put it that way. Definitely. So.
Well, I don't want to keep you too long. It's been, you know, it's getting late. But I think we were doing a lot of research for this, and we uncovered one fact that kind of surprised us. Mad Mike, I think you were on this one. You got a question for him?
Yeah. Well, I'd noticed that you're the uncle of Cody Rhodes.
Yes.
And I was just wondering if, you know, given his current persona, if he has ever called you and given you any tips to be dashing.
What's that? I couldn't know you were breaking up.
He was asking if giving Cody Rhodes current persona on WWE, if he's ever given you a call and given any tips to be dashing.
You know, no. You know what? When I was in the mainstream, Cody was younger. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? He was a hell of an amateur wrestler. Mm-hmm. And I haven't even seen him. We watch him on TV because I keep an eye on what he's doing and stuff like that. But I haven't actually watched what he's done lately. Mm-hmm. You know, and I don't communicate with him that much. You know, at family functions and stuff like that. Because, you know, when you're not working together, you're like in another world. You know, if I was there, you know, we'd be family or running up and down the roads together, but I rarely see him. I really do. Because he does, because of the road schedule, and, you know, he's young and going crazy right now, you know. Mm-hmm.
Excellent. All right.
Yeah, but hey, take advantage of what we get me on the thing here. Shoot away while you got me.
All right. Anybody else on our panel have any questions for Jerry before we let him go?
Well, I was just curious. Over your career, I know you guys have been able to work with like almost every huge name in tag team wrestling, right? From LOD to the Horsemen to Dudleys, anything like that. Was there any team that you always wanted to work with that you never got a chance to, like the Hardy Boys or the British Bulldogs or anything like that?
Yeah, when we did a short thing there when we were thinking about coming back to WWE in maybe 2006 or something like that. Mm. And I actually talked to, because they were still doing some tag matches and stuff, but because there's so much like great workers like Sean and Marty were, I really would have liked to work with the Hardys. you know, and now Jeff was with us and down there in TNA while we were there, and we had a fun time with him, but we didn't do nothing because the brother was up at WWE, you know. But actually, when I did see him in a SmackDown and said, I'd love to, you know, him and his brother, I said, I always would love to work with you guys, so keep that in your mind if that would ever come up. And another one was, I thought that me and us and the Dudleys could draw some money. And I was asked this question back in the end of summer in August. We were in Vancouver doing one of the Hulk Hogan and Friends things, and it was a Canadian crowd up there, and a lot of questions came about the Hearts, you know, and I talked to Brett, you know, every once in a while, and brought up the Hart Dynasty, and that's knowing that, you know, from wrestling, I wrestled with Anvil and Davey Boy and Owen and Brett, and over and over and over, you know, in different ways. You know, of course, winning the belts off the Hart Foundation was one of the greatest things ever achieved in my life. But at WrestleMania 7, but I would really like to, if I ever had the chance to wrestle the Harry, because I know Harry and with Nadia and all them. I forgot the little guy's name. He's from Calgary too. The Hart Dynasty guys, you know.
Yeah, Tyson
Yeah,
Kidd.
Tyson
But
Kidd.
That's it.
I knew Nadia and Natty and Harry since they were kids. Back in the early '90s when we were all on the road together, Anvil would bring his 3 daughters over to my house all the time, and Davey would bring Harry and his daughter Georgia, you know what I mean, over to the house. They spent a lot of time with us because they had moved from Calgary to Florida where we were living at the time, and you know, they were just, you know, kids, and that would be I think an awesome thing for me to do, more than even, you know, getting to wrestle the Hardys or the Dudleys or whatever, because of the nostalgia involved there and the family tradition, you know, that we wrestled Owen when he was with Coco. They were a little team. And then the new foundation was Owen and Jim the Anvil, and we go way back with Jim, you know, and we wrestled them. And then we did a lot of wrestling even against when Animal was hurt. Davey Boy and Hawk teamed up, and Davey Boy and Sting teamed up, and we wrestled them a ton of times in WCW through pay-per-views and all that kind of stuff, you know. Spent a lot of time with Davey Boy on the road, tons. And one of the greatest things we ever did was, you know, got to wrestle the British Bulldogs, Davey and Dynamite, when we first really got to know them, and that was in Japan in like 1988. We went over there for tag team tournament and wrestled them most of the time. And also on that tour wrestled like Abdullah the Butcher and Tiger Jet Singh, Stan Hansen and Terry Gordy, 2 classics there that was unbelievable. That was a fight for your life, you know. And that there in itself is like you know, a milestone. And then when we went back to Japan in the 90s, then we did a lot of wrestling when they did with Kinski and Hawk in Japan. Animal was out hurt again then, and or that might have been around the same time, but Animal was out, and Kinski and Hawk wrestled as like a Japanese Legion of Doom, and you know, wrestled them a lot. Wrestled Hercules and Scott Norton a lot over there as a tag team. You know what I mean? And you know, of course, I still not only one of the greatest matches with us was with the Hart Foundation. That's when we were already in WWE, but one of our biggest breakthrough matches I think that top it all was when we shot our angle in the Pavilion in Chicago with the Steiners, and then returned for that our first Halloween Havoc against them. Just took us up to a whole nother level, the way that match got over, you know. And that was huge. The Steiners. I just saw those guys again. We were on the road together in Memphis and Arkansas, and spent some time with them. And where Terry Funk was the guest referee and that type of stuff. Mm. You know. So I mean, you know, like you said about talking about stories and stuff, but I mean, and fun times. I mean, when I think back of the people, you know, and greatness alone of and respect from, you know, up and comers to old timers that we had the chance in our career to brush shoulders with is, to me, I just think about I can't remember half the stuff I did because it was so much fun and so many things, but I know we did a lot of crazy stuff, a lot of fun stuff, and really got to meet some incredible people. You know, and a lot of my buddies, I mean, a whole lot of my buddies ain't even here no more. Mm-hmm. But a lot of their kids are, and that's why I try to help them as much as I can, but their dads are gone, you know. Mm-hmm. But I was pretty good friends with them.
And you mentioned,
so that's...
You mentioned your long career. I recently, in the past few months, saw a shoot interview with you guys where I learned a lot of things I didn't know about your career. Are we looking? Wouldn't there be a book, a Nasty book, in the future with you guys?
You know what I'd like to, what I really at this point in my life would like to achieve now. I'd like to do a Nasty Boys Greatest Hit DVD.
Yeah.
And with all of our street fights and all these teams we wrestle and stuff, like if you go on our website, there's watch this match, you know, the nastyboys.net. You can do some of it, but I'd like to really go through time from Sean and Marty to all the way through all the teams. I mean, from, you know, I can't even mention them all. There's so, you know, like I said, from the first Raw, I think we did with Sammy and Junior, the Islanders, you know what I mean? And then Barbarian and Ming and, the natural disasters, Typhoon and Earthquake and teams like some of them like that. I forgot I even wrestled, you know, you know what I mean? Because they're, you know, the big attention ones were like the Steiners and the LOD and the Bulldogs and that kind of stuff, the Rockers and, you know, but you forget a lot of these because there were so many teams, and that was one of your first questions about the tag team situation. I'm not saying it a negative way about the guys that are tag teams now. Yeah. I'm saying that I think there isn't that much emphasis put on it anymore. When there was I think a tag team calendar or something, but when we were there in the early days, in the, you know, say 90, 91 in WWF at the time, tag teams were so important, and there was it was us, the LOD, the Hart Foundation, Owen and Coco, the Rougeaus, Tanaka and Pat, you know, Tanaka and Diamond, what were they called then? They were Bad Company and AWA and all that in Tennessee. I forgot what they were called when they were like an Oriental Express. Mm-hmm. The Oriental Express, yeah. You know what I mean? And there's just a ton of teams, and there was Roma and Hercules and on, you know. Yeah. The Demolition was still there. Yeah. You know,
and Money Inc. You guys had a big run with Money Inc.
Yeah, Money Inc.
Yeah, and we wrestled. Yeah, Mike Rotundo and Ted. Mm-hmm. You know, that was pretty cool. Really, really good thing. You know, we had a really good match to get. We went around with them a lot. You know. Yeah. But it just, I don't know if it's guys coming up say, you know, we just don't want to do that. But, you know, there's teams that are just put together like, okay, you and him are going to go together and you're going to be a team. But I'm talking about the teams like Dynamite and Davey or, you know, Hawk and Animal or me and Knobs or the Steiners that from day one were a tag team, and that's what they wanted to be and wrestled as an expertise in tag team wrestling. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's more like today is like, well, you're going to be the tag champion. It's going to be, well, we'll just put Big Show with this guy, and that's the team. To me, that it really isn't. It's a tag team, and they might have the titles, but it isn't true tag team wrestling. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And another problem there seems to be is there's an inevitable breakup with these tag teams. Like we're kind of seeing now, it looks like they're teasing the Hart Dynasty might break up, which really it feels like they're just going to get lost in the fold even more. I
don't, I haven't watched so long.
Yeah.
I hope that don't happen. I mean,
same here.
It's a great thing. I mean, I don't, like I said, I don't know what's going on because I haven't watched it in so long, but instead of getting a rating or whatever they're doing with it is to break them up, they should just think of more creative ways to build them. You know what I mean? I don't agree with that at all.
Yeah.
And going back to when you were asking about comparing like TNA to WCW or WWE, as my experiences goes, don't take that out of in the wrong way either. You know what I mean? Because it's so important right now that they even exist, as far as there being a number 2 company in the country alone. You know what I mean? But I can't compare my experience there in any way from I don't know how many years in WCW and 3 or 4 years in WWE. There's just no comparison there for me. That's personally. I'm not saying it as a company that it's this or that or whatever, but as far as that's concerned, it's very important in the wrestling business that it exists alone. You know what I mean? That there is a number 2 company, and that's what they are, and which is important right now. I just want to get that clear to you.
You must be psychic, because I think you pretty much answered Hot Wheels in the chat room's question you just put in on your thoughts.
What does it say?
He actually just asked what were your thoughts of the state of wrestling today as a whole, but I think you mostly just answered it, I think.
Well, that's a tough. It's not that it's a tough question. It just there's so many aspects that have changed that then the business is so different. One huge thing though, I'll say again, is there, and you can actually thank the Dixie Carter for that, because if she doesn't invest in, Jeff and Jerry's company, the TNA thing, because it takes a lot of money, because we were trying to do it at the same time with the XWF, and to have someone, say, I'm going to, spend, I don't know whatever, $15 to $30 million to make this work is huge. So huge that, everybody making money today in the business should kiss the woman's feet for giving that dedication and that authorizing, to go ahead and invest so much money in the wrestling business. You know what I mean? That to make a second company, because for that second company to be there at this point in time is so important. You wouldn't even imagine how important it is to have that. With the way the economy is now, and the entertainment dollar is always the first to go in a bad economy. You know what I mean? When, a family has to pay bills or get groceries, that comes first before, a night out to a concert or to a football game. And I see the football, everything, it's a tough environment now to make money in with the economy the way it is. And then alone, I actually pity the guys, because when we were on the road, there was that pre, 9/11. It was pretty easy scooting in and out of airports and that type of stuff. And now when I'm going the road, and thank God I'm not on the road 300 days a year anymore. It's like torture. My God, we talk about all the time, going, I pity these guys, these young guys that have to get to the airport an hour and a half early to get through these lines, or you're going to miss your flight and never get to a town. I don't know how they do it. I really don't. Yeah. Tough times right now. You know what I mean? And in alone, when I would say all the 80s and the 90s, the talent supported the brand. And the way I see it now is that the brand supports the talent. And that's not the talent's fault or anyone's fault. It's that the talent pool had just been overly tapped and drained to where it's few or none, you know what I mean? To where you have to create your own. And that's what's being done as far as, what Steve Kern's doing over there with Florida Championship Wrestling with Dusty, and, because there are no places like that for guys to learn, like what I was talking about, going from Minnesota to Nashville to Charlotte to Florida. That's where we learned, to Japan, whatever. That's how you learned years ago, from going and just getting yourself booked and wrestling from territory to territory, and you honed your skill, And another aspect, along with economy, airports, everything else, there's nowhere like that for guys to go, young guys to go and, hone their skills for a few years. And then when they get their shot, they're totally ready when they're called up or say, hey, we need you here, and you're ready to go. Nowadays, which I pity them again, is whatever method you can get trained and whatever way you can get your own experience. If you're lucky enough to get with a thing like the Florida Championship Wrestling or something like that, where you have shows to go to and stuff like that, and you practice, even then, a year of that isn't a training to, 4 or 5 years what we did, or generation before me did, before they would get that national exposure, that shot. And then you're called up, and then it's a hit and miss, and it's almost like a hot shot. It's almost unfair to the guys, because, would you say no? They say, oh, you're coming up here now. Either, that's it. That's your career in a nutshell. Either you get on your time on that TV and get yourself over, or, you're booed off the screen, and you might never get another chance in your life, because there are no other places to go and do that,
Yeah.
That's sort of a shame to me. And, but that in a nutshell sums up what's going on, what the business has come to, and it's nobody's fault. It's just in the 80s and 90s, there was vast talent pools for WCW or the WWE and the Japan offices to pull off of, and you could migrate around and always come back for another run and do whatever. And now you got guys that have been there not only because there's nowhere else to go, but because they have nobody to replace their spot. So the writers have written for these guys for years and more stuff and over again. And then you have young guys who, if you're rolling the dice right and it hits right, you've been just trained just enough that you will catch and get a niche where you can get a break and stay on. If not, you're, it's a see you later thing. So that's what you have, and that's what I think ends up with in the state that the business is in now, which is nobody's fault. But when they knew it was going to happen, but when back in the day when WWE went nationwide, and through the next 25 years, little territory after territory dropped off because that big TV, they couldn't compete with that big TV, and they fell by the wayside. Well, by them falling by the wayside, so did the training territories, where guys that came from, say, Louisiana back in the day, like the Junkyard Dog and Jake the Snake and Hacksaw Duggan, and then you go to Portland, where you have Roddy Piper and Buddy Rose, and Billy Jack, and Minnesota, where you had, Hulk Hogan and Mean Gene Okerlund and Bobby Heenan and Sergeant Slaughter, and on, to down to Florida, where you had Dusty and all these, guys come out of, and then, in the heyday, you could just pick and choose, bring him up out of there, and you had high quality honed talent. And that's what I mean by the talent supported the brand, because they were so ready and skilled at the time when they were brought up there. In the early days, the talent carried the brand. Now, the brand stamp makes the talent, because that's their cue, is when that's what makes them, is that not that you're a great wrestler, not that this is, just that you are part of this company. That's what makes you, puts a stamp on you now. That's the state of the business, where I see it right now. And, hopefully another surge will come. I hope right now somebody's got to be looking for that next big name. The Stone Cold, The Rock, the John Cena. There's got to be somebody out there coming up from somewhere, I'm hoping.
We definitely,
what do you guys think?
We definitely do a lot of looking to the independents, trying to find those groups that people don't know about and help spread the word on them. And there's a lot of interesting stuff out there, and we really hope that we really look to companies, say, could they make it to TV and maybe be a competition like TNA rose up. So I think you're completely right on a lot of that, definitely. So, Jerry, thanks a lot. This has been a great talk. It's been great hearing your opinion on how things are today and in the past. And I want to thank you for taking the time to talk with us tonight.
Oh, thanks, guys. It sounds like you got a pretty cool show.
Yeah.
Sorry to, like I said, Paul, the way it goes is our webmaster calls. They want to do a radio interview tonight, and then forwards and numbers. I don't know what happened to Noms or where he is. He might be at Graceland again, for all I know.
We're a grassroots. Hey, we're a grassroots podcast. We're used to technical difficulties. It's nothing new to us. We've been doing this long enough. Hopefully in the future we can connect again and we'll get both of you guys on here and have a good conversation with both of you at the same time again.
Cool.
All right. Thanks a lot, Jerry Sags from the Nast.
All right, you guys be good and take care, man.
All right, you too, man.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, Jerry.
All right, bye. See you guys.
If you want to check out what's going on with them, go to thenastyboys.net for all the latest, and if you want to contact them for anything. We're going to hit the break and be right back.
I can raise my stuff if I need to.
Yeah, raise your stuff a little bit.
Okay.
Oh, like a dirty whore.
Missy said the SHIT word.
For a few weeks.
Yeah.
It was
longer than that. It was a few months. But they took it down because we deliberately started filling it with lies.
Nothing wrong with Skype.
This is Superfly Jimmy Snooker, and you're watching the Wrestling Mayhem Show. Please come on down and check it out and have fun.
You're watching the Wrestling Mayhem Show.
This is awesome.
Online at WrestlingMayhemShow.com.
Welcome back, Wrestling Mayhem Show. That was a fantastic interview with Jerry Sags of the Nasty Boys. Again, check them out, thenastyboys.net for everything going on with them lately. And hey, who knows?
I think we just sent the entire internet to Pity City.
To what city?
Pity City.
To Pity City. Man,
yeah, I meant to ask him whose idea that was, because I always remember that move. And
it was the most devastating tag team move in professional wrestling at the time, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Still is, Sorg. I mean, come on. Because they usually don't hit it until after 10 minutes in. That's a lot of sweat buildup.
That is true. It's a lot of activity. Anyways, like I said, before that, let's get to our sponsor. Anyway, anybody have an audible pick this week?
I do.
Tell us about it. Well, first, you guys, for listening to the Wrestling Mayhem Show, we got free stuff for you. How about a free audiobook at audiblepodcast.com/Sorgatron Media, so you can get one free audiobook. You love podcasts. You hate reading. Obviously, you can't even read this right here, can you? This isn't going very well. But you can get one free book and check out the service, the iPhone app, the Android app. You can see how it all works. There's free stuff there. There's like radio broadcasts. There's all kinds of stuff. And we like to tell you something to pick out. So DJ Lunchbox, what do you have in mind?
Do you like laughing? Sure, we all do. You know who else likes it? Steve Martin. He likes it so much that he dedicated a large portion of his life to making us do it. Do you want to hear about that? Sure. We all do. There's a great Steve Martin book on audible.com, Born Standing Up, A Comic's Life. It is his autobiography, and it is absolutely tremendous. If you're a lifelong fan of Steve Martin, as I am and have been, this is a great read. He also goes into his thoughts on comedy as a whole, the way he honed and developed his craft from just a random thing he would read while working in the circus to an act that is nationally recognized, internationally recognized. I'm sorry. It's a tremendous book. It's serious. It's funny. He talks about his family, his estranged father, his relationship with his mother. Absolutely tremendous. Steve Martin, Born Standing Up, A Comic's Life. I recommend it. It's my official recommendation. Oh my god.
Yeah, apparently that's how it goes.
Steve Martin plays banjo.
Oh,
no.
This is him playing banjo?
Yeah, that's him. He's very good.
It is narrated by him. Let's see here.
Simon & Schuster Audio presents...
Oh, straight from the beginning.
Born Standing Up, A Comic's Life.
Okay.
By Steve Martin.
Okay, get into it.
Read by the author.
Okay, good.
Beforehand. I did stand-up comedy for 18 years. 10 of those years were spent learning, 4 years were spent refining, and 4 were spent in wild success. My most persistent memory of stand-up is of my mouth being in the present and my mind being in the future. The mouth speaking the line, the body delivering the gesture, while the mind looks back, observing, analyzing, judging, worrying, and then deciding when and what to say next. Enjoyment while performing was rare. Enjoyment would have been an indulgent.
Oh, there you go. There's an idea. But that's
complicated, yes. Thoughtful, yes. Hilarious, also yes. Born Standing Up, A Comic's Life. It's Steve Martin. Get it now. Audible.com/ was it Sorgatron Media?
Audiblepodcast.com/Sorgatron Media, like it is there on the screen, or click the link over at WrestlingMayhemShow.com, SorgatronMedia.com, of course, please. Real quick,
and while I'm at it, I would also like to recommend, if you're on Twitter, follow Steve Martin. He is hands down one of the funniest, most entertaining Twitterers out there. It is Steve Martin to go on Twitter,
and he listens to podcasts. I understand.
He does. He's very hip, up, and cool with the times. So yeah, Steve Martin to go. Check him out.
Excellent. All right, guys, let's first a programming note before we get even deeper into this. I want you guys to know we will not be on at our regular time this next week on the I don't know what is next week, the 16th, I think.
Let's get deeper.
There's some more stuff coming on. Stuff is rolling right along with the Barista shoot, so we'll be I'll be occupied and nobody else is going to sit here. Part of the problem
here, but I won't be on Ustream.
Well, there you go. So stay tuned for that. We have some ideas. We may either be popping up on Sunday or Thursday of next week. I know there's a pay-per-view and everything. So wait, is there a pay-per-view this Sunday?
I don't think there's a pay-per-view.
It's
Sorg.
the next Sunday.
I think that's lies.
That is lies.
Oh, I thought that was this Sunday.
You are correct. Correct.
I think this is lies and speculation.
No, we're wrong on all accounts. So just so you have. So let's get.
We're wrong.
We're wrong, guys. We're wrong.
See, we admit when we're wrong.
We're wrong.
That's why we're different than the rest of the internet.
You know who we're talking about.
Yeah, you. I see you out there.
Excellent. Well, let's get into the fan mail. What's that? Pay-per-view
fan
equals
mail.
Cake?
Pay-per-view equals cake because it is a lie.
That's true. this is not lies.
And WMS, this is the one and only Riz. Coming at you not late with a little email. I heard you guys talk about SmackDown vs. Raw 2011. And Sorg, you should break your drought of not buying WWE SmackDown vs. Raw games and pick up a copy right now.
I do think
From the beginning.
I think the last one is 2008 that I have.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe 7.
Oh, 8.
Listen to him, Sorg. Do it right now. Like, right now.
It's pretty excellent. From the beginning, I enjoyed playing the Road to WrestleMania angles and their storylines with the exception of the few scenes in Undertaker's streak, but it built up a great storyline in the end. And I got to punch out Paul Bearer, which was pretty cool. Sorry, Mr. Bearer. The WWE Universe was revamped with more cutscenes, and, like the commercial said, you control the universe, and you get to pick your allies and enemies. Literally. Granted, that wasn't in the email. It's literally, you do that. Grant it the announcing.
Excuse me, one quick thing.
Oh, sorry.
The best thing about this game ever, I made Dashing Mad Mike. I played myself in the WWE Universe, and as soon as I unlocked him, they immediately had me tag team with Zack Ryder. That is the greatest game of all time, right there. Continue.
Granted, the announcing in the game was lackluster, and there were people that were left out of the game that, honestly, I would love to see in the game. I said game a bunch. But those are minimal to the experience that WWE SmackDown vs. Raw 2011 brings to the table. Until next time, I'll be winning a 30-man online Royal Rumble as Michael Q. Knoxville.
Oh, nice.
Michael Q. Knoxville.
Nice.
A man that is absolutely in the game. Michael Q. Knoxville.
Fantastic.
And his beard is in the game.
Here's one from Sean Burkhead. Evening WMS peeps. It's the week we've all been waiting for. Team Dashing versus Team Burkhead in Mayhem Fantasy Football.
Oh, shit.
I promised the WMS Nation that Team Burkhead will give Team Dashing an ass kicking. He will never forget. Okay. I hope I read that right.
After the game my Cowboys had this past week, I can't get any lower, so bring it the fuck on, Burkhead.
At least now he will have a reason to wear the sunglasses.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys can fight however you want. Neither of you are making it to the top 4 at least, so I don't have to worry.
I'm gonna win!
Hey,
it's only halfway into the season.
Hey, I one more win and I'm batting 500. I'm pretty cool with that. Yeah, I opened with fantasy football talk since wrestling was kind of lame this week. From what I read and heard, TNA had an above average pay-per-view Sunday night. Reports have it the Impact fans cheer for the heel Hardy during the main event. So what do you think of Hardy's heel run so far? He's a heel?
Yeah.
He's the Antichrist?
It's a classic heel thing. It's nothing. It's nothing completely different.
Yeah.
He's the heel where little girls cheer for him. He's totally a heel.
I think Hardy's a classic heel in that he deals drugs to children.
Yeah, we should write that in the TV because
you don't get much more heel than that.
Secondly, which main event would you prefer? Option 1, Hardy versus RVD. Option 2, RVD versus Hardy versus Morgan. Option 3, Hardy versus RVD versus Morgan versus Anderson.
Wow.
Isn't that all
last week?
Isn't that all the real same thing?
Can I say none of the above?
Okay, moving on. Lastly,
I'd actually like Hardy versus Angle.
I have heard that Eric Young, Angle needs to come back. That could be good. I have heard that Eric Young is no longer with TNA Wrestling. They offer him a contract with lower payout than before. Rumors has it Eric Young is exploring his options elsewhere. Eric Young, if you would like to expand your opportunities in the podcasting world, please call us at goodtimes at WrestlingMayhemShow.com or feel free to leave me a message here at 412-206-WMS0.
Eric Young is exactly. So he has a home.
Yeah, you have a home here. We have a couch. Well, actually, it's downgraded to a love seat, but it's purple.
You can talk about the crazy times when you were going to team with the Rockers in a 6-man tag, but it was really a singles match.
Eric, we will never fire you and never lower your pay.
No,
never.
No.
We're not guaranteed.
Mainly because we don't pay you.
Yeah. Well, no, WrestleFan, we will never lower the pay.
Yeah, which means we'll never
lower 0.
Which means we'll never charge him for anything.
Eric Young has the distinction of being the last current TNA superstar to ever come on the Wrestling Mayhem show. We got him, and then who was it? Was it Bob
Davari?
Holly? Davari. No, somebody mouthed off.
Anderson?
Was it? Maybe it was Anderson. I don't know.
I
Somebody. No,
got
it wasn't. It was
Anderson
somebody.
to
We,
report.
no,
we
it was
never
somebody
had
we don't
Anderson on
like.
the show.
No.
Yeah, we
What
had.
I'm saying is,
fan.
it was before.
I
It
never
was
saw
before
this.
TNA. It was before TNA put a lockdown on their talent.
Mhm.
Remember that? This was way back.
Oh,
Billy Gunn. Billy Gunn.
Who was it? Who
Billy
was
Gunn.
it that?
Kip
What?
James. It was Kip James.
Kip
He was mouthing
James.
off.
That was it.
He's the one that we have to blame.
When
Yeah.
did we interview Kip James?
No, we didn't
We
interview
didn't.
him. He
You're
was
not
on another
listening.
radio
This is
show.
why.
I am not listening.
I don't think we would ever interview Kip James for one thing.
No, we wouldn't.
He's a scary son of a bitch.
Fucking little kids and your ADD.
Anyways, let's see. There's an email here. This is mostly directed at WrestleFan, but he does say the stare of NWA World Champ Adam Pearce can melt steel. He stared at me. I think this is true. We have WrestleFan. He says that Did you listen to that second voicemail?
I skimmed it.
You skimmed it because he said that you should just listen to it off air, and that's your indie minute. We'll just play it instead.
Play the damn thing.
Here's the first one.
Namaste, Mayhem Nation. Now, Sorg, I saw your Facebook, and I'm a bit annoyed.
At what?
You couldn't get anything out of that message I sent you at intermission of the TNA show back in September.
Okay.
But yet, with all the chaos going around me when I sent you that message yesterday, you can put that on the show. Yeah, I see how things are.
I didn't do that, actually.
But getting back to the
There's another
event of
message.
last week, again, I think there's misunderstanding. I did not threaten anyone. I am just very passionate in my belief that the NWA and its champion, the Scrap Iron Adam Pearce, deserve more respect.
Oh,
By
wow.
the way, I do like having NWA from Hollywood on in the background. That's a good idea.
That is a good idea.
But it doesn't just have to be that.
Yeah, put it on.
Hey,
put it on.
Sorg, put it on now.
TV in the background for the
Put
show.
it on.
Put on, you can put some clips from IWC. You can put on clips from indies all over the place. Speaking of indies all over the place, I wonder if WrestleFan is going to have some news on the latest Insanity Pro show out of Indiana.
Well,
Their big show, Super Junior Tournament, was this Saturday.
So subtle.
And I'm sure plenty of great happenings came from that.
I think Freaky's the master of the self.
Also in the indie news, WrestleFan, you missed out on two things.
We're packing up some old
That I
instruments
sent
nobody's
you.
using.
There's a charity in Cleveland that distributes
In
it.
that Japanese news I sent you, if you noticed, TV champion Eddie Edwards and world champion Roderick Strong teamed in a tournament in Japan against teams from all over the biggest promotions in the world. And they were in the finals, and they lost to the Noah contingent.
I don't know what he's talking about.
No. And also, there's an independent out of the East Coast called Jersey All Pro.
I've heard of it.
They have a lot of things going on. You can get a $50 deal with 10 DVDs through all the years, back to like 03, 04, all the way to now. Big names on them, and they have a huge weekend of shows coming up this December, culminating in a show at the ECW Arena in Philly. Jushin Thunder Liger versus Mike Quackenbush, Homicide, Brody Lee, Eddie Kingston, the U.S. Death Machine with Chris Dickinson and Sammy Callahan. Whole lot of good stuff going on there.
All right, and the message that I was supposed to play before this.
It's your favorite neighborhood freak again. Now, unfortunately, I couldn't be at the show Tuesday because I was communing with the dead for Deus Los Murderos.
Did he just say he was communing with the dead?
Yeah, for something Spanish. Anyway,
I think you meant the Day of the Dead.
Which was Halloween.
Oh man,
no,
3 voicemails.
I thought that was in May.
Okay,
Dia de los
back to the
Muertes. It's
important
in May.
thing. I realize that it's a radio show or podcast. However, the things at the Witch's Ball that I saw do not need to be repeated with young ears such as Wrestle fans listening.
Wrestle fan?
Sorry, Wrestle fan. You'll understand
Wrestle
when
fan
you're older.
earmuffs.
Wait, these are headphones.
And also, again,
Earmuffs.
going back to the misunderstanding, Mad Mike, Lunchbox,
Yes, sir.
it's good to see that you can be big and be adults about this. So I accept. In fact, it's funny, but there are actually things that I desire from you two.
What?
Mad Mike,
Oh no.
you have, you did some sort of contest back in the winter where you said, if somebody brings a sign to wrestling shows and it makes it on TV about, I am not a cast member, they will get a DVD from you. Well, while, I don't live in Florida, so I can't bring that sign to TNA, it did make the tapings for PWO's tapings in Niles in January. It did get on the air, I believe, in the 3rd or 4th hour. So, hey, I've got a, that means I get a prize. I didn't wait. I did send, I believe, a message or two about this before, but Sorg never put him on the air.
Yeah, Sorg.
And I just remember.
Yes, Sorg.
And
Freaky's gonna rape you.
You and Sorg, you have something that I covet greatly that I will get to off the air. But yes, I want to make sure there's no hard feelings. There
will be hard feelings.
Well, that's not important, but what I really want to know is, so now that you've had time to watch the NWA from Hollywood and Hybrid and the like, what do you think of them?
Holy shit.
Wow. Sorg?
Yes? Wait, what was...
I think we need to institute a Mayhem protective custody service.
Custody?
And, put you under protection. We'll hire the APA.
What? In the butt. I said what? In the butt.
And,
give it in my butt. In my
hide
butt.
your swords.
Wanna do it in his butt.
Hide your cats.
Okay.
Hide your intern. Hide your Sorgs.
Hide
Hide your cat. Hide your intern.
Yeah.
He gon' find you. Freaky gon' find you.
I don't know what he's supposed to get to off air because this email doesn't say anything. And maybe it's because of Adam Pierce. Maybe it's because I met Adam Pierce. I don't know. I don't know.
What?
I don't know what's going on. Okay, well, that's the fan mail, the voicemail.
Well, it's NWA Championship Wrestling from Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
Tremendous. It's tremendous. It's just absolutely fantastic. He's right. It's some of the best wrestling that's not on TV today, and it should be. It's fantastic. I mean, you get people like Cole Cabana and Cheech and Cloudy and
Cole Cabana.
of course. How can you talk about them without Scrap Iron Adam Pierce? Come on, it's amazing, fucking just amazing, absolutely tremendous wrestler. Awesome Kong jumping in every now and then. The one I saw was when Blue Demon Jr. won the heavyweight championship back in 2008. Absolutely great. And then, of course, dropped it to Adam Pierce in just recently in 2010. Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. And then you have Keith Walker and Rache, I think it's called, Brown, yeah. Current tag champions, and you have your Heritage Championships and Heritage Tag Championships. Just tremendous, absolutely fantastic.
I'm pretty sure you're reading a list, sir.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay,
I think you're full of
anyways.
shit. And don't anger Big Freaky. All right, he will cut you. NWA Hollywood, it's just amazing. Tremendous.
Either way, he's got his wish.
Sorg, that's not NWA Hollywood. That's Glee.
Yeah, it's an ad for Clee on the beginning of
What?
NWA Hollywood, apparently. They're everywhere. They're everywhere.
I see a blue tracksuit, and I'm like, I don't think there's anyone in a blue tracksuit
There
in
you go.
NWA Hollywood.
See, I don't know what you're talking about. This doesn't look like Lee to me. Okay.
Sorg loves his Jane Lynch.
Jane Lynch.
Who doesn't, really? Have you ever seen
right.
40-Year-Old Virgin?
Yeah.
Have you ever seen Role Models? Holy crap.
Hey, don't bullshit a bullshitter. All right.
All right, let's get into it, guys. You guys have opinions on things.
I have
My
opinions.
brain's broken after all of the events of tonight.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know if you guys have noticed. Oh, but before we get into everything, we should say happy birthday, Hot Wheels.
Happy birthday, Hot
Happy
Wheels!
birthday, Hot Wheels.
Hot Wheels leading the way. All the
You're
way down
older
to
than
birthday
you've ever been,
town.
and now you're even older.
And older.
And now you're even older. And now you're even older. You're older than you've ever been, and now you're even older. And now you're older still.
See you Saturday, Wheels.
And happy belated birthday to the intern of the show.
Yeah.
Gee.
Yeah.
Happy belated Miss Intern.
Excellent. Now let's talk about
Okay.
wrestling.
Now on to the news.
Hey, you know what's great? SmackDown vs. Raw 2011.
All right, guys.
It is great, Lunchbox.
All you guys have played it. I haven't because I'm too busy. So why should the Sorg be putting aside his busy schedule and picking up a copy of SmackDown vs. Raw 2011?
Because it's awesome.
Well, yeah, okay.
They teamed me with
I
Zack
agree.
Ryder.
My favorite thing in the wrestling games ever since Here Comes the Pain, or no, it was Shut Your Mouth. Ever since Shut Your Mouth was the character creation. No, it goes back even further than that. Back when I had, I think it was Raw. It was just Raw. I think it was called. It was for the place PS1.
PS1
Yes.
Warzone. I have
the
it.
acclaimed video game WWF for Raw.
I did. There are a few things that are in my bedroom that are rather coveted. There's the copy of WWF. Wait, hold on. Of wrestling nature. WWF Warzone.
Whoa.
There is a WCW versus the World for PS1, and there is also, I believe, Firestorm
I used to
Pro
have
Wrestling.
that.
So right there, there's a PS2.
But my favorite thing forever has been the character creation, and it's become a little lackluster over the years. Well, I have to say it's back. It is back. It is again an enjoyable experience to make characters and people. And ever since that first wrestling game, I made me. You know, me in whatever clothes I just happen to be wearing most often. And that character has evolved. And, over the past few years, he's looked, pretty terrible. But I tell you, he's back. He is back in his glory with this new SmackDown vs. Raw game. It is absolutely tremendous. The movesets are great. And they don't have the whole, year-long storyline thing. It's just the road to WrestleMania, but even that's very, very long and very satisfying.
Love the road to WrestleMania this year, especially with the new added, kind of a take back to the Shut Your Mouth days, where you can walk around backstage, interact with people, and the detail was really good. When you're about to walk down the curtain to go to your match, there's a little whiteboard on the side with a list of everyone's matches. And it changes each week, so.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And then there's a little,
I gotta say, for years, I've kind of been making a supersized version of myself, but this year I decided to make Dashing Mad Mike, and the create a wrestler option is awesome because I run down to the ring and explosions follow me on the ramp.
Mm-hmm.
Which is pretty much the greatest thing I've ever done in a wrestling game.
Also,
and you can
another
race the
pastime
hurricane, which is fun.
Really?
Yeah, you can race the hurricane.
I haven't gotten to that part yet.
It's pretty spectacular.
Another enjoyable pastime of me and my my roommate Zeke is we would make monsters, where basically, you know how you can set the settings all the way high or all the way low and make horrible freakish things? We would do exactly that. And there's a lot more potential for that in this game than there was in the last one.
Oh, and also you can make your own turnbuckle finishers, which is very cool because they actually have a, if you are familiar with Street Fighter fame, a Shoryuken, which is a rising uppercut while someone is sitting on the turnbuckle, which is really, really awesome. And another thing they add is the physics with the different weapons. It's actually spectacular. Table matches, they're a lot harder to win now because the tables don't immediately break on impact. Sometimes they'll flatten out and they'll be tilted, and you can throw someone else through it. I myself decided to beat the crap out of Matt Hardy by giving him a superplex through 2 tables, because that's how I roll. And you can break ladders. You can lean ladders and tables up against any part of the ring you want. And
it's extremely creative.
You can run up them.
Yeah, you can run up ladders.
I think it's a simple thing, but it was really needed. If there's like 2 or 3 ladders just laying around in the ring, and you choke slam somebody, and they just happen to land on a ladder, it does more damage, and they actually react to landing on the part.
Even not a ladder, but even like when you use like chairs and stuff like that, or even you can suplex somebody onto a trash can, and the trash can will flatten.
Yes,
and it's really cool. And like you said, it's really needed.
Yeah, it gives another layer of realism to it. And speaking of layers of realism, the road to WrestleMania stuff I've played, it's actually entertaining and it's well written and it's interesting. You know what I mean? I don't get bored with the storyline when I'm going through.
Yeah.
One of the things I've heard about the Road to WrestleManias is I'm pretty sure this is true with the past couple of years, was that these were rejected storylines that they were actually going to do on TV.
Yeah.
And they
they have the reuniting of Christian and Edge.
Oh yeah.
And,
they do it so much that at one point,
think it is.
At one point, Edge is actually wearing an Edge and Christian shirt in one of the other storylines.
They come out in glasses and big giant cowboy hats, and they do the old entrance with the camera pans, and it's like
nice.
WrestleFan. They have kazoos.
They do have kazoos, yes.
They have kazoos.
Undertaker's dead.
Yeah.
No, but I played the Christian one, and I played the Chris Jericho one, which is actually also really fun. I like the little mini games.
I did. Sorry, WrestleFan.
I was gonna say, because I like the little mini games that they've added to include. Like, one of the things is like you feud with Triple H, and you have to send Triple H into the Geritron 5000, kind of like Shawn Michaels back in.
They have like there's goals.
Excellent. Okay, it sounds like this is a winner.
One other thing.
Yes.
I did the John Cena Road to WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And
I'm on that one now, so don't spoil the end for me.
I'm just going to say the supplementary storyline that's going on. Because there's a storyline that's going on completely throughout the entire John Cena thing that you never really interact with. And it's a storyline between Sheamus and Maurice, which is just hilarious.
Yeah, there's also one in the Jericho one between Santino and Beth Phoenix.
Yeah, because Santino's like, I am the winner. I am always the winner. I am a winning, not losing type.
Chris H2O.
Anyways, let's get into the news. First of all, who put in a rundown about who scored better ratings last night, Conan or Leno?
Raw.
I did
Raw
because I did because I felt that is something that we should mention on the show.
Okay.
That Conan's back, our old friend, who NBC fucked over while simultaneously fucking us over.
He got better ratings than both Leno and David Letterman.
Yeah.
We're going to take over George Lopez's show. Is that true?
Please, for the love of God,
the mighty have fallen. We'd be
doing everyone a service.
Wow, and Daily Show, maybe this is typical, but Daily Show and Colbert got 0.9s and 0.7s. So I wonder what it compares to what they usually get, though.
Well, actually, last week, Colbert, Daily Show actually beat out Leno and Letterman for the first time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, wow. So I think it's a big chunk of their But that's not what this show's about, other than it is.
Yeah.
Wow. Injury update on Brian Kendrick. If you watched the pay-per-view, you saw him get hurt with a knee injury, it looked like. Oh, but he's not injured. Except for the knee injury a few weeks back. The injury angle was done to explain. Really? You gotta do that at a pay-per-view? Come on. And it looks like...
Yeah, but there was a, just mentioned sideways, a more important injury from that night was, Tommy Dreamer during his match. Got a dislocated wrist.
Mm-hmm.
That looked really, really freaking bad. It was, and he continued through the match.
The bone was sticking out, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
They showed it.
That's crazy. Madness.
Looks like a little bit of indie news. ROH has a sale.
Yeah, they do have a sale. Save big on their DVDs, I believe. Oh shoot, page not found.
Yeah, I noticed that. But still, over on their website, ROHWrestling.com, it should be over there.
Yeah, I believe it's like you get, if you buy 4 DVDs, you get two free. If you buy 6, you get 4 free. You buy 8, you get 6 free.
9.
And if you buy 12, you get 8 free. Or 9, yeah. If you buy 12 DVDs, you get 8 free.
And that's insane.
Yeah. So definitely check that out.
12 DVDs, you get 8 free.
Yep.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, I barely make any money, and I'm considering doing that.
And in other news, what's a week without Hulk Hogan showing his drunk to his daughter?
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, that just disturbed me.
Have you seen this?
Hulk
Have you seen this?
Hogan, wiener slave.
I mean, it's...
Well, actually, there was footage. I forgot what it was for. It's for no, it was advertising for Def Jam Vendetta.
Not
Def Jam Rap
Vendetta.
Star.
Not Def Jam Vendetta. That's
a
fighting game.
Showing it. It's barred out.
Well,
because Hulk Hogan knows about rap.
Rap star.
Yeah, because Hulk Hogan definitely knows how to rap.
Yeah.
But they should have brought the Macho Man on there.
Yeah.
Oh my God! If he did the Be a Man Hogan rap on that game, that would have been gold.
But Hogan did say that he didn't expose himself. He played an unedited or uncensored video and said, "Look, that's not my penis," or whatever.
I don't care. Those shorts were still abnormally short for a man of his age.
I mean, I don't care because he's 60 years old and he still shouldn't be doing that crap.
Yeah, keep your goddamn pants on.
Mr. Anderson, this goes to what we were talking about. We actually heard this interview over between the ropes. I don't know if this quote's from a different interview, but he says TNA has actually banned the chair shots to the head. They've actually
they have.
They actually thrown down a gauntlet and said no more unprotected chair shots. So either way, they're making an effort. So after this, you see any more headshots. He also says that the one that gave him a concussion was purely an accident once it was supposed to actually hit his head. So
yeah, it looked like it clipped him.
Yeah. It looked like it was a back shot that just kind of went up there. It says it was not intended. And there you go. So that kind of lends to what some of the speculation that we had. But
I'll still believe it when I see it, Sorg.
When you see no headshots for 6 months, or
yeah, I'd settle for 6 weeks from TNA.
Mm-hmm. LB, have you been watching your financials?
A little bit here and there. I know they recently did the quarterly report call, but I didn't. The only unremarkable thing was it's the first call in ages that wasn't headed whatever by Vince McMahon or Linda McMahon. It was somebody else, and God, what was her name? Balls. Her name was not Balls.
Balls.
Either way, I remember the name because I was looking for jobs on WWE.com, and one of the jobs was her personal assistant.
Oh.
Donna Goldsmith, that's it. The COO. Yeah.
They made let's see, they're down 13.6 million, down to 14.5 this quarter last year. Numbers are still looking bad. Money in the Bank is down almost 100,000 buys. SummerSlam is only down about 20,000. Champions only a little bit less. So not as big gaps except for July's pay-per-view. So
yeah. I don't think we're gonna see. I mean, we'll have another Money in the Bank pay-per-view, and I think that'll be the last one, honestly.
Yeah.
And it occurred to me that Miz won his at the Money in the Bank pay-per-view, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
And Kane.
Okay. Yeah. So it's gonna be interesting to see, if he keeps it.
Yeah. Why
for the next pay-per-view, or maybe he'll cash it in at WrestleMania.
Yeah. I think they're seeing more legs out of that than what the numbers they got for that pay-per-view. So,
right.
Let's see, Hulk Hogan. Mick Foley believes he suffered permanent brain damage.
Oh, really?
Oh, shit.
With an interview he did on TSN's Off the Record show. In the interview, Foley states, this is according to ProWrestling.net, that he believes he suffered permanent brain damage from his time in wrestling. The interviewer then turned it over to his guests to discuss the NHL blindside hits. So there you go. I would not be surprised. I mean,
I don't think that would come as a big shock to anyone.
No.
It consistently amazes me that Mick Foley can write books and do interviews.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God,
it's just, I can't imagine the hell his assistant goes through.
Yeah, he has to have an assistant. And have you guys seen as Diva Dirt put it, the comedic gold that is the Exana soundboard?
Yes.
I figured WrestleMan, you would enjoy this.
This is why I love her.
Because they made a soundboard of her?
No, because of what's on the soundboard.
What is llama?
Let's see. Let me get loaded up here.
Oh my God!
You better be playing something.
Let's see. Let's make sure this is turned up. It's loading. Is somebody already playing it? Let's see.
Yeah, it's just
here's
quiet.
a view of it. You got Exana. It's a little flash thing. I need to use the right mouse. Let's see.
Entertainment. I like to call myself a $1 billion baby from Lithuania, Oksana.
Oh, yes, you are.
What's the difference between a wife and a girlfriend? About 45 pounds. Yes.
That's an awesome joke.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, man.
Mama.
That's my favorite.
Llama.
Far and away. Llama.
No,
Mama here, not by mistake. I'm not Russian.
I'm not Russian.
Oh,
It's kind of like she's a bad character from SNL.
Oh.
USA!
There you go. The Exana soundboard.
WWE Universe. Let me entertainment
my
you.
God.
You know what I want to see?
Llama.
I want to see her team with Kozlov.
Sheamus was trending last night.
Kozlov had some of the best lines in the SmackDown vs. Raw game.
God.
Kozlov had some of the best lines last night.
Oh, God, yeah.
That segment last night was absolutely hilarious. I fucking loved it from beginning to end. I was telling everybody.
I'm watching this thing. I'm like, please tell me this is going to rate better than the the previous highest rated segment on Raw was the This Is Your Life by Mick Foley.
Yeah.
That could have beat it because that was was tremendous.
That was so
Their
funny.
outfits, the Laurel and Hardy bit that they did.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my! It almost would have been better if they started doing the Who's on first with something like with Sheamus.
Yeah.
Oh my God! It was so great. Like, you know what? I hope to God that the Santino sitcom that we heard about is actually going to happen.
Wouldn't that be tremendous?
After last night, I'm definitely sold on it.
A little more.
It'll be like a new Perfect Strangers. It'd be great.
And Exana can guest star on it sometimes as the
wacky neighbor who doesn't know what a llama is.
There you go, llama.
Llama.
Well,
What
here's
is
a little
llama?
something we were talking about, and Mike, I think you're on the same vein as me, as WrestleFan and I that shared this the other night.
Oh, jeez.
The brand new TNA Championship belt. There's a look at it.
Wanna kill TNA in the fucking face.
It looks like it's off the bow of the Battlestar Galactica.
No, Sorg,
hold on.
It is the Divas belt infused with like semen.
Well, if you want
what it looks like.
No, hold on,
if you wanna call it
Came on the
It
Divas
looks
belt
like-
and turned it into a guy.
It looks like Jeff Hardy made it with scrap metal in his yard.
Yeah. If you want
Now,
to call it...
I haven't seen this thing yet.
Yeah.
So I'm about to bring it up. This is going to be a live reaction.
Okay. Well,
the thing is,
to the new belt.
The thing is, it doesn't look like a world title.
Yeah.
I put the link in the chat room for people who don't know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
The television title looks more like a world title than that does.
Loading. What the fuck is that?
Awesome.
It looks like a. Okay. Seriously, the front of it looks like a mask that they would put on a really shitty like D-string Batman villain.
Yeah.
And the belt looks like something a D-string Batman villain would wear. What the fuck?
I don't
It's
get
the
it.
Divas belt. It's the Divas belt with claws.
No. If the Divas belt is the Mattel Barbie belt, this is the Mattel He-Man belt.
Yeah.
That's true.
Fucking ugly. Ugh.
Anyways, that's enough pining on that. Let's see. What is... Nah, I don't care about that. We got any good news for this week? We got to wrap this up. King disappeared this week.
Yeah.
He's wounded. He's got a big swollen leg from a staph infection.
Yeah.
Can I say it was a welcome thing not having him on Raw?
Got a big swollen something.
But with Josh
I
Matthews?
disagree.
Yeah.
I do love Josh Matthews.
Josh Matthews. They should have put Matt. No, they should have put Matt Stryker on there and have Matthews do the backstage stuff.
No, you know what?
Instead of
I like Matthews, damn it. And he didn't get a
He's
bloody
solid.
nose once. Fuck
He's
the
solid.
haters.
Speculation is that Dwayne The Rock Johnson and John Cena are among the front runners to star in a Superman movie.
No. No, that's inaccurate. John, no, you're right, it is.
Also,
The Rock also,
Joe
he's mentioned in something else.
Manganiello.
I'm sorry.
From True
I'm sorry.
Blood?
If The Rock is going to play any DC character, he has to be Black Adam.
Yeah, that's what they said in the article. I agree. He'd be a great Black Adam. Unfortunately, Mike, you and I are some of the only people who know who the fuck that is.
Yes.
Yeah.
What's a Black Adam?
And as we mentioned last week, as it was looking, Linda McMahon paid out about $100 per vote that she actually ended up getting and lost the election last week. So there you go. And she's been reported to say that she's not returning to WWE anytime soon.
Really? I heard she was.
Really?
Yeah, I heard she was taking over her position as CEO.
And we're hearing conflicting reports, sir.
She was like, screw it.
Maybe she'll take some time
Interesting.
off.
Yeah.
Maybe just did a hard-fought election. I think she takes 6 months off, to be honest.
We all know how McMahon's hate failure, so
Yeah, exactly.
I think Stephanie and Vince are gonna lock her in the basement for a month or so to teach her a lesson on failure.
Excellent. Well, guys, on that note, I think we need to wrap this up. Ladies and gentlemen, we learned a lot. I think that goes without saying. Wrestle fan, what'd you learn from wrestling this week?
I learned that WWE has finally been able to produce a great video game that I will be enjoying for a long time.
Excellent. DJLunchbox, what'd you learn from wrestling this week?
Oh, I learned that Miz is awesome. But the reason Miz is awesome is because he is 100% down to the tone of his voice channeling Chris Jericho.
What? Really?
Really. Listen to him
I see
and think about recent Jericho promos and then listen to Miz promos. He's the delivery, the tone of his voice, everything. I heard him on Raw last night, but didn't see him, and I thought it was Jericho. Honestly.
Yeah.
I think you're
I'm
not
not
wrong.
making that up to prove my point.
Jericho's done a lot of different promos from his past. Now his promos are more like somber and more uppity than anything else.
I definitely mean recent Jericho, not old school, long hair, top knot Jericho.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Man, Mike, what'd you learn from wrestling this week?
I learned that TNA, because we know you listen,
Do they really? Because they haven't done anything.
WrestleFan, they know.
Listen and react are two different things.
You need to know when I'm fucking joking. When I say certain ideas that I think will be horrible, and I say them aloud on the show to make people laugh and to bring the funny, you shouldn't actually do these things. The pay-per-view, nice job putting no faces over at all. Maybe that was the reason, no one cheered for anything. And the thing that's coming up this week, which I'm not going to talk about, but fuck you, TNA. I haven't said that in a really long time, but fuck you. Fuck you so hard in the ass.
And
fuck TNA.
From the chat room, Riz learned that as long as I hold the SVR game, R-Truth has no shot at beating Undertaker's streak.
That's what's up.
Wow.
Sorgatron, what'd you learn this week?
I learned that as long as I've watched Raw, as long as I've always had to finish it off, finish off watching the show above all else. Last night, I did not watch the end of Raw. I don't know what happened in the last 7 minutes of Raw. 'Cause I watched Conan.
Nexus 1.
Good man.
Yeah, I luckily have picture-in-picture, so I watched Conan and the end of Raw.
I am not as
because
lucky.
I stand up for Team Coco and Team WWE.
Oh, by the way, the only downside about the SmackDown vs. Raw game is that all the announcers are always Jerry the King Lawler and Michael Cole.
That's an excellent point.
Yeah, that is a little bit of downside, but
So I
don't play with the sound on anyway. So
There you go. They get repetitions anyways, no matter what version of the game it is.
That's
in my
true.
experience. So, well, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a great and it's a long
and
show.
Hot Wheels learned that TNA needs not to take WWE ideas on belts.
Ooh,
No,
yes.
Jesus. WWE wouldn't even make that belt.
No, not for their world champion. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Not for
That's
their
like
main
that's
guy.
like an Intercontinental title. That's like a
I still don't
hardcore
get
belt.
TNA made a new belt for Jeff Hardy, yet they still can't fix the fucking TV title from saying global.
Where are they putting their money?
Fuck you, TNA.
Guys, this has been the Wrestling Mayhem Show. Please check our stuff out, WrestlingMayhemShow.com. Drop us an email or Twitter us at Mayhem Show. Good times at WrestlingMayhemShow.com. Drop us a line at 412-206-WMS0. No, we're past that, DJ Lunchbox. Guys, it's been a great show. Thank our guest Jerry Sags of the Nasty Boys for having a good long talk with us. What's that?
Tremendous.
We look
Absolutely
forward to talking
awesome.
to him again in the future. Thanks a lot, guys. Stay tuned. More Mayhem coming up. Stay tuned on those dates. Oh, also, go to SorgatronMedia.com to find out how you can earn a free CD, Head PE Truth Rising. See you guys next week.
Peace, bitches.
You stay nasty, San Diego.
Thank you for listening to the Wrestling Mayhem Show.
Please subscribe to our iTunes streams and blog at WrestlingMayhemShow.com.
Email us at goodtimes@WrestlingMayhemShow.com or call us with any comments at 412-206-WMS0. We love to hear from our fans, and who knows, maybe you'll make it onto the show.
The Wrestling Mayhem Show was recorded live in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, in front of a live internet audience, and is a production of Sorgatron Media.
You can be part of the show as we record live every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern on TalkShoe.com and Ustream.tv.